Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and for today's topic I am going to do a video on palettes I love but most popular views say that you guys don't love it. So let me start off. Also, these palettes are mixed reviews, so let me start off with my first one, this big old one. This is the James Charles X Morphe. I love this palette. Part of the reason why I love this palette is because they do have pressed pigments in it, and I prefer that than regular eyeshadow palettes. Why do I prefer that? You get so much more pigment. Now a lot of people may say, yeah, you get a lot of pigment, but is it worth it doing all that? So what I do is that I like to, on my weekends or just, going into work nowadays, I just like to play around with them and I like to see what works. I usually know how to put on pressed pigments, and usually how that would go is I would just pat them on, blend lightly, or if I need to blend them at all, I would start off with a shadow, I would keep blending, and then it's gonna look like crap. But then when I pack it on again, it looks so nice. That's one of the reasons why I love this eyeshadow palette. Not only is it a rainbow palette, but it's also a pressed pigment palette, which is my go-to and my favorite thing to use. I had only one problem, and I don't think it's a problem anymore because I figured out how to use it. It was the shade Benny. It's like a deep brown purple type shade, and that shade I have used so many times and it gave me so many problems, but after a while I started to realize how to use it, and it's actually one of my favorite shades now in this palette. I did buy the mini version of it because most of the time when I'm doing people's makeup, I really want this palette to come with me, but I can't fit it into my train case. So what I do instead is I get multiple different palettes, and it's not so much of a hassle. It's just I just really wanted this in a mini size, and for me to like go sleep over someone's house, I would honestly just take that one. It has everything I need, every color of the rainbow, except I realized it was missing a gray. That is the only color that it is missing for me. And I wish when he said that he wasn't going to do another palette, I kind of wish maybe he did in like an extended version of it, but then again, it wouldn't be a mini size. So to each his own. My second palette that I love that people may not love is this brand called, I hope I'm saying it right, I believe it's called Yoma Beauty or Oma Beauty. This brand, I had no idea that it even launched. One day I was in Ulta and I was like, ooh, pretty shadows I need. But the packaging, the last one, the packaging was kind of ripped, so I was like, oh no, I'm gonna have to buy it online. I can't just pick that up. Especially, it wasn't cheap. I think they're like $45. They were having a huge sale, probably like maybe months back, but they were like, the palettes were maybe like 25% off, maybe 50% off. But yeah, this one is called the Allure palette. Let me show you what that one looks like. This is so pretty. My only gripe with this palette, but I still love it, is that this shade called Love, let me show you right here, it doesn't look like that on the eye. It looks like this shade called Opulence, which is a deep plum shade, but I still love these. Okay, if you do not like glitter, if you do not like a bam shimmer in your face, this palette is not for you, and I can see why that you may not have liked this palette. I love this palette because I'm super extra and I love glitter, and these are my tones. I really love this color palette, and I didn't get the Soft Culture palette, so I really wanted to try. I think I was really drawn into it because I didn't get the Subculture palette, so I did get this. And this shade, what my favorite shade is called actually Allure. It is so beautiful. I took in pictures with this, and oh my goodness, it looked like a duochrome. Just, it was so pretty. I don't have one like not favorite shade in here. So that's my second palette. I have all three of them. My least favorite one is this one that looks like a 4th of July palette. That's my least favorite one. It didn't give me that wow factor. And I'm actually wearing the other palette on my eyes today. They're right behind me, but yeah, and this one's more like a neutral with a pop of blue. So I'm wearing that palette, and it's really pretty. I love both of these palettes, but I can't get rid of the third one just because the collector in me is saying don't do it. But also, they're still pretty shades. I really like the silver in there. Anyway, my third one is the e.l.f. Retro Paradise. You guys, when I see this palette, I was like, dang. I absolutely was so in love with this color story. And unfortunately, it didn't get great reviews. I think it didn't get great reviews because of the mattes and shimmers. The mattes, everyone was saying it didn't perform well. You needed to back it on. It wasn't bright, how it is in the pan. And then with the shimmers, everyone was saying you couldn't get anything with the brush. And it wasn't as like how it looks in the pan once again. But I found out my holy grail is this primer by Urban Decay. When I used that, I had used the green matte, and it was starting to peek through, like you could see my eyelid throughout the day, and I was not used to that. I was like, oh well, dang it, it's an e.l.f. shadow, so okay. But then I'm like, no, I have faith in this palette. So then I tried it again, and I tried it with the ABH primer. It worked like a dreamboat. It was so pretty. There was no shades that were like seeping through, you know, my eyelids. I really did like a mermaid look. Then I did a neutral look. I think my favorite shade in here is Paraíso. That's my favorite shade. And then out of the mattes, it's probably Dijon. Not like in a French way, but I don't know why I said it that way. But yeah, that's my favorite shade. This is a really beautiful palette. You could do it for summer. You could do it for fall. Maybe winter too. Sea salt, I am going to say it is a bit chunky. But if you're willing to work with this palette, you can create some really pretty looks. And unfortunately, it was collaborated by, you know, YouTubers. Not the biggest YouTubers, but when it didn't get a lot of love. And I'm so sad because it was a really nice collection. It was one of e.l.f.'s probably biggest collections that I've seen. So this next one, it is the Tarteist Pro palette. Okay, this was my first high-end palette that someone had bought me. And I was like, oh dear Jesus, it has a huge mirror and it has all types of mattes and shimmers. And then I put it on my eyes. Mind you, I wasn't as experienced of a makeup person as I am now. So when I put it on, I didn't fall in love with it right away. It still has that chocolate smell, but I didn't fall in love with it right away. It kept getting muddy on my eyes, and I was so confused. I love the shimmers. The shimmers aren't like boom in your face. So, but I realized that I had to pick up less pigment, and I just had to I had to work slowly. So I couldn't do it like a regular palette where I would like dip, get all the, you know, I don't go like this. Oh, where's the pigment? No, I actually have it on my brush. I stayed on my brush, and then I keep going. But this one I couldn't because it was getting my eyes really muddy. I don't do good with like darker eyeshadow, which is like crazy because I have black on my eyes, but I don't do good with dark eyeshadow because it makes my eyes look so red. But I came to really love this palette because when I figured out how to use it, then I was like, oh, okay, you can stay here. I mean, I'm not gonna give you away. So I really love this palette. All of these palettes, except for the James Charles, the big one, they are travel friendly. So this one is another travel friendly palette. Let me move on to the next one. I also love, I know people, I remember like when I was first starting with my makeup and stuff, people would be like, oh, I hate cream shades and I hate matte shades. And I'm just like, I mean, I hate like black matte shades. And I'm like, at first I was like, you know, me too, because I could just use my setting powder. I don't see all the fuss about it. Why do we have to put it in? Until I got lazy and I'm like, oh no, I need a matte and a matte black and a matte cream shade. So my next one is the NIKA Tutorials times Beauty Bay. I was not into this color story. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't into it. But as my friend from elementary school, she was like, oh my god, I got this palette and it looks so pretty. She was wanting it. And then I'm like, okay, I see the like where we're coming from. Let me show you the palette. This right here. The main star of the show is these freaking shimmers. Oh, purple eyeshadow got into my shimmers. That makes me sad. That's okay. I think I fixed it. I'm really not sure because it's come on a little pink and my slasher and my ivy kind of, I don't know. Let me see. No, it's supposed to come out white. Okay, so anyway, so yeah. When I purchased this, first of all, it's a really great price that you pay. I mean, for this amazing, again, it's pressed pigments. So I'm gonna hype it up because it's my type of eyeshadow palette. But for this amount of like how much you get in the pan and then the shimmer quality, it is unreal. Again, if you don't like amazing shimmers, like sparkly shimmers or possibly duochromes, you're not gonna like this eyeshadow palette. But I love this palette. I think you can do so many looks. I have done so many looks, and because this is the last round of like batch that she's doing, after this there's like no more, as they say. I stopped using it. I hit some big dips on it, and I really love this palette. I would keep it, if I didn't like the mattes, I would keep it just for the shimmers, and I think that's the most trend. The shade Amsterdam was everyone was having a hard problem with that one, and the shade Plot Twist, which is the light blue and the dark blue. I didn't have any problems with those shades. That blue, I went to Malibu, and it was in your face blue, and I loved it. It was so pretty. And then I used Pride on my lid. So it's really, you have to know your tools, know how to work it. And also this palette that I'm really surprised, it came with an instructions on how to use it with your finger, with a brush, how maybe you shouldn't use the finger, maybe you shouldn't use a brush. So I like that it came with, I wish that, you know, YouTubers who create palettes, they would show each and every individual shade and how it's best used instead of just saying it, because then they're like, oh, well, it said it. Well, no, here's some of the tips and tricks that I can show you. But that's just me, and I love the palette, and I love how this was created. Both sides, open it like that, and this one came with the magnification. I don't use the mirrors in the man because I mean, I'm just gonna stick my face in the eyeshadow palettes because I use it really close up because I can't see. So mirrors to me, I really don't care. I know that's a huge complaint on everyone else, but yeah, I know a lot of people were having problems with this palette. It was mixed reviews. I absolutely love it, and if it runs out and if they're still in stock, I'm gonna buy this one again. Now, can you guys guess which 4 palettes did I pick to save for last? I picked the Jaclyn Hill Vault collection. I picked this one because it was a mess when it came out. I don't know which batch I got. I could read you the note, but it doesn't matter. To me, I have been able to work a lot of eyeshadow palettes that people just don't like. And it's crazy because eyeshadow palettes that you guys like, I personally don't like. Like, I know one of them is the Blood Sugar palette. Everyone loves that palette. And I was like, man, these mattes feel so dry. I never complain about a palette, but I mean, those mattes felt so dry. The shimmers I had no problems with, but the reds and the pinks and the purples, I don't know what happened with that one. That's the least palette I use. But anyway, yeah. So I originally was not going to get this. I'm going to show you the palettes, but I originally was not going to get this because I just thought that, you know, I already had these with the first Jaclyn Hill. I just thought it was maybe a repeat, and I don't know. I just didn't. I didn't want them. I don't know. I just didn't. I wasn't feeling it. But then again, I don't feel a lot of stuff, and then I just purchased it anyway. I sit there and I look like a crazy person, and eventually I buy it. And I come to the conclusion that I had loved these palettes. My favorite palette, which is crazy. I have a big dips on this one, which is my favorite palette. It's Bling Boss, which is the purple palette. I originally got these vaults and not just individual ones, which, by the way, you can get it individually, was because this one, Dark Magic. I love the name, first off. Second of all, the color story was just amazing to me. But I'm so sad to say that this was my least favorite out of the bunch. I think because it was dark colors and it just was not looking good on me. My eyes were just always red. I couldn't. Maybe I'll try another look with it, but I mean, this is the least one out of all of them that I use. My second favorite is Ring the Alarm, which was all the reds, and then my third favorite was Armed and Gorgeous. I had bought these for friends and family. One I bought like the whole vault set, and then the other one I bought just the Armed and Gorgeous and Bling Boss, and so you get the point. But anyways, yeah, so I love these palettes. The shimmer just worked great. The blendability was good. I had no problem. The pigment was there. Maybe I just knew how to work these palettes, but I truly love these. I love how they look like this, but I honestly wish that they were in a palette. Like, I don't know. I think I like bigger palettes more than little palettes, but I really wish they came in a big palette. My favorite one that she did was the second one that she came out with the purples and stuff like that. And honestly, all of these shades are different from the first, second, and then these. They're all different because they're not the same. The quality is amazing. I just didn't have any problems with them, and I have a lot of dips on them. So these are my palettes that I love that you may not love, and if you guys have, you know, any comments to share, let me know. I would love to hear them. If you have a favorite palette that no one else likes, please let me know. I would love to hear, you know, what you think. But I think out of all of them, what is my favorite? I don't know. That's really hard to choose. I can't. But I know that I think if people stop hearing the controversy and kind of maybe stick to the makeup and just block it all out and just see how the makeup look goes. And if you still don't like it, then that's your own opinion. But I mean, these shimmers were popping. I had compliments on them. I mean, I just really love them. And they're small. I mean, perfect for travel too. So, but anyway, guys, if you like this video, let me know. If I'm rambling on, let me know. If you guys want to see other videos, leave a comment down below and I'll try to do my best. Maybe I'll do palettes that you love, but I don't, because I know I have some of them here that everyone's like, oh my god, this is the best thing ever, and I'm like, oh gosh, oh dear, what am I doing wrong? Well, anyways, guys, I hope you guys have a rest or a great rest of your day. And the weekend's coming up. It's gonna rain. That's what I hear. But anyway, yeah, guys, I hope I made you at least smile, because, you know, that's what I like to do. But, yeah, guys, I will see you in my next video, and bye, guys.